German Finance Ministry has revealed that federal and state tax revenues rose 3% year-on-year in July, a slower rate of increase than the previous month, due in part to a decline in earnings from sales tax. The ministry in its monthly report noted that the total tax take come to 65.74 billion euros in July, with increases in taxes on income, wages and inheritance. Meanwhile, in June, tax revenues had risen more than 7%. It added that in the first 7 months of the year, Germany collected some 513.3 billion euros in tax, up 7.4% from the same period in the previous year. However, the ministry emphasized that leading indicators do not point to a short-term acceleration of economic activity. The Confederation of British Industry has reported that manufacturers have suffered a fresh setback, with orders falling heavily in the 3 months to August and further weakness expected ahead. The CBI's monthly balance for manufacturing new orders slipped to -33 in August from -30 in July. Additionally, a gog of output expected over the next 3 months slipped to -13 from -6, the lowest since May. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov has stated that Russia and India have achieved good results in energy cooperation, and Moscow is interested in further joint energy projects with New Delhi.
Есть у нас хорошие результаты в сотрудничестве в сфере углеводородов, поставки российской нефти на индийский рынок, и у нас обоюдная заинтересованность в том, чтобы реализовывать совместные проекты по добыче энергоносителей, в том числе в Российской Федерации, на Дальнем Востоке и на Арктическом шельфе.
Still in Europe, Sweden's central bank held its key interest rate at 2.0% as expected. However, the bank pointed out the probability of a further rate cut this year as it tries to balance above-target inflation with an economy running in low gear. The bank governor, Erik Thedin, noted that with inflation at 3.0% and the inflation target at 2.0%, the bank needs to be vigilant. Moving on to New Zealand, where the central bank has noted that the impact of recent interest rate cuts has been slower than anticipated, partly due to uncertainties over new tariffs that have negatively affected business and consumer confidence. Governor Christian Hawkesby highlighted that while global tariffs have created a negative demand shock, the most significant effect on New Zealand has been a prolonged hit to confidence. He stated that the central bank's focus in setting interest rates is on how a weaker global economy will reduce demand for the country's goods and services. New Zealand's government has announced new military spending of 2.7 billion New Zealand dollars to replace aging aircraft, including helicopters that it plans to purchase from the United States. The spending package is the first part of a plan to double defense spending to 2% of gross domestic product over the next decade. The military will purchase 5 MH-60R Seahawk helicopters from the United States to replace its current maritime fleet. The package also includes 2 Airbus aircrafts, and the helicopters alone account for over 2 billion New Zealand dollars of the total cost. In the dark continent, Statistics South Africa has reported that headline consumer inflation increased to 3.5% in July from 3.0% in June. This is the highest rate since September 2024. The agency noted that food, power and water prices are key drivers behind the acceleration. Annual inflation for food and beverages continued to rise, accelerating to 5.7% from 5.1% in June. Additionally, it added that municipal tariffs, which get an annual adjustment in July, were a big factor in the inflationary spurt.